And we're live. No chat. Hopefully I don't lose the webcam. Hopefully I don't use my desktop. Unfortunately, OBS is incredibly buggy since their latest update. Can't get the chat or other windows to actually show up on OBS, so I can still see your chat. I'll try to talk or chat accordingly. See if I can find it now. Just dropped it. There we go. And yeah, well, we're going to play some Teysa. Teysa Orzhov Scion 1v1 Commander. I've gone 2, 3, and 2s with the deck. I'm beating Barl now, which is good. It's about 50-50. Barl can still have their incredibly stupid polymorph turn 4 draws that just flat out. You can actually do it on turn 3, I believe. But I did die to a turn 4 polymorph to Barl. Beat... What have I lost to? I've lost to a couple Gitrog monsters, but that's pretty easy once I start getting the hate for the graveyard. The Gitrog monster's fine. So I've added a lot of graveyard hate to it. Let's go down a list of what I'm running right now. So, howdy everyone that's joining the chat. I will try to watch. Whoa, the chat is working now. I give up with OBS. Okay, I'm going to shut this image down. And then, well, yeah, we'll keep that up there because it's actually covering. Anywho, so 1v1, as you may know if you've watched my other video, the ban list was today, and they banned the Strip Mine, and they banned Strip Mine, they banned Dig Through Time, and they banned Treasure Cruise. I still think they need to ban Emrakul, which is kind of ridiculous when they banned a bunch of cards for multiplayer, so that weren't broken in 1v1, but they're like, well, we don't want them in multiplayer. So, for example, what was banned in? There were a few of the combo cards for 1v1. I'll have to check it out again, but I mean, they didn't really have like Painted Servant, for example, isn't banned in most 1v1 commander decks, but it is in this particular 1v1 format because they also wanted to hit some multiplayer cards that are busted, and Painted Servant's extremely busted in multiplayer. Painted Servant would go in this deck, for example, but then they left other cards that were extremely busted in multiplayer, like Emrakul, which I hope does get the next ban list out, just because there's too many ways, if you go back all the way to Vintage, to cheat Emrakul in, and maybe they want it to be on a higher power level. I don't know. I think that I'd like this kind of be less powerful than Legacy, so in between Modern and Legacy, or just a singleton format that goes on at least turn 5, turn 6, without any big locks or heavy counter type. I want this to be an enjoyable format where you can actually play. That's what I'm trying to say. So I want them to keep breaking up some of the degenerate combos and keep breaking up some of the degenerate control cards. So Dig Through Time and Treasure Cruise was a good step in the right direction, as it has opened up. I haven't seen any Tassigers, and haven't seen nearly as many of the like Jace or a lot of the just pick your commander blue decks for the High Tide combo, because it's not as good without Treasure and Dig. I mean, it's only 2 cards in their arsenal, but those seem to be very, very good cards. As you know, the Ancestral Recall is pretty good, and so is Dig Through Time to just go through so many cards to find 2 particular cards you need, especially in a combo deck like the bar. So it really hurt 2 of their pieces. So anyway, we are going to... Did I put it as Market Monday? Whoops. Let me change that. I had this changed and... There. Now it should save. Hopefully that saved it. So, where were we? Again, I apologize for being so unorganized. I've been trying to get the stream to work for over 2 hours now. I did take a little bit of breakup frustration with the chat not pulling up, but it does seem like the chat is working now. And yeah, so where was I? Okay, so this is Teysa. Teysa is really good versus creature-based decks. I don't think creature-based decks are going to be a thing for a while. What we're starting to see is some other combo-based decks starting to be more popular. So instead of just green ramp, people are going more into the Ghost Council. What is it? The Abzan one that allows you to cast more than allows you to cast an extra creature per turn. Like Rune. Rune lets you flicker cards. So a lot of the heavier value-based green creature-based decks are starting to become more popular. Gitrog Monster is still a thing. And then the Vial Smasher is probably the #1 deck right now. In fact, most of the players that you saw, like Dots, for example, Dots is no longer on Tassiger. Now it doesn't have the Strip Mine lock. He is on the Vial Smasher. So Teysa does okay versus all of those decks. Versus the green ramp decks, those are kind of my weakest matchups. The control decks are a little bit easier because I've got this deck built for more of the control style decks, but sometimes I just can't, I'm just not fast enough. I've taken out too many of the ways to tutor up my own degenerate combos, just so if you put too many of the higher converted mana cost cards like Sun Titan, for example, or Ranger Vios, some of those that are extreme value versus the mid-range type decks, then those are going to get countered 100 times. You're going to, maybe out of 100 times, you're going to get them maybe 5 times to hit. I'm telling you, that's how bad it is. So I decided to go more of the control hate. So with control hate, you want to play more of attrition. And with attrition, it's me Inquisition, Thoughtseize, Tidehole or Scholar with like the Mesmeric Fiend. Let me put up a display bar for you. That's a huge display bar. And then also taking care of hexproof type commanders or commanders that are trying to control them through other means. Then you have Fleshbag Marauder, Merciless Executioner. And still, this deck ends up being a value deck. We win still with the combo every now and again, but it's a lot less than it used to be. So I'm using even a lot more cards like Innocent Blood and Chainer's Edict. I really want to take care of those Barrels and those Vial Smashers. You can take care of those early. Then this matchup's a lot easier because it doesn't matter if they just sit there and counter spells. They aren't getting value out of the countering the spells. So you can keep up with the blue decks for quite a while. Things like Hymn to Torak are in here. But the basis of the deck is Teysa gets value every time a black creature dies. It puts a white spirit, and then you can sacrifice white creatures to exile creatures. So you're going to rerun a lot of stuff that gets value, like Recruit of the Guard. I have a Lingering Souls in here. What's fun about Leonin Relic-Warder and Tidehole Scholar is when their abilities on the stack, you can sack them, and therefore they don't get that card back ever. You could put the old school Banisher Priest, whatever the old one was, Fiend Hunter, in this list as well, and your opponent wouldn't be able to get back the card that was under Fiend Hunter. But I thought that Fiend Hunter was just redundant with cards like the Fleshbag Marauder and Merciless Executioner. If we are going to more of a spot removal type format, I'll put Fiend Hunter back in. And then if we actually do go more of a later game format, I will go back to the Sun Titan, maybe even Grave Titan type list. The problem is that requires a lot of mana, and this deck is very mana hungry just on a lot of the activations require mana, or casting multiple things per turn. So still the best thing for this deck, what I almost always tutor up every game, is going to be the Recurring Nightmare, which is banned in regular Commander, but is legal in this Commander. So Recurring Nightmare is very good. Once you have like a Recruitive Guard in the graveyard, you can start tutoring up all of your pieces. And eventually, if your opponent does leave you time, there is the Darkest Hour plus the Blasting Station combo. I got rid of the Phyrexian Altar. I don't know if I want it back in here, but I was just trying to really, really fine-tune this for the control matchups, and Phyrexian Altar was just not good. Still running a Crucible of the Worlds in here because you can still get the lock with either the Tectonic Edge or the Wasteland, so Crucible of the Worlds still fine. And plus, there are a lot of land destruction decks still out there, so Crucibles is the best answer that I have for those land destruction decks. Speaking of land destruction, we have Tithe, Weathered Wayfarer, as well as a land tax in here. Those also help us play a low land count of 37. I might go down. I was pretty flooded a couple of the games that I played, but you do want to at least get to 5 with this deck, 5 lands, as that's where it's kind of the sweet spot where you can do everything an attorney want to do. Have some other hate cards like Phyrexian Revoker. The 3 equipments that we have is the Feast and Famine, Fire and Ice, and the Jit. I figured that the sort of Light and Shadow was the weak link, and I just had too many equipments here with the Skull Clamp, Jit, and then 2 swords I think is fine. So Spellbomb and Relic help take care of graveyards. I did cut the Leyline of the Void. I might bring it back in. We'll just have to wait and see. Running all 3 Lilianas, so Liliana of the Veil, Liliana Heretic Healer, and Liliana Last Hope, they seem to be the best ones. Liliana Last Hope is my latest addition. I'm going to wait and see if it's actually good, but it does allow me to get value out of Liliana a lot of times 2 or 3 times with the -2. So I think that might be worthwhile. If not, you can always go to... I don't like playing any other Planeswalkers above 3 because they're very, very hard to stick in a format with miscalculations and mana leaks and all those type of cards. So, anywho, are there any Reanimators in 1v1 EDH? My friend has an Esper Reanimator deck, and I hate his turn 1 Entomb. Well, Entomb is banned, so they can't go turn 1 Entomb, and there's a lot of cards that are banned right now. So, is it Jite? I've heard Jit 1,000 times by so many people. In fact, one person, when I pronounced it differently, got very upset. That is Jit. I don't know. I don't care. I'm going to mispronounce everything. Get used to it. That is what happens when you grow up in central Utah. We have our own culture and our own language here. Are you appropriating my or shaming me for my culture? Tisk, tisk, tisk. Anyway, we're going to queue this up and actually play some games. Again, I'm a little bit out of it, so I'll probably misplay a lot today. But yeah, we'll see how well it does against the field. Right now, I am 3-1 versus Barl in my 2 leagues. Yes, Barl is everywhere. So both leagues that I just barely did, I played 2 of the matchups. So 4 of the matchups of those 2 leagues were Barls. So, or Barals, or however you say that. So, anyhow, let's go on to it. Oh, you got to see my last win. So there was my last league. This was Vile Smasher, and this was the guy that can cast creatures, the ghost guy, the ghost chieftain. And the only reason I lost is I got stuck on 2 lands. So it had nothing to do with the matchup. This loss was nothing to do with the matchup. I just got stuck and couldn't get above 2 lands and lost. Kept a 2-lander and got punished. All right, so let's go ahead and queue it up and see if we can get some matchups. How's everyone doing tonight? I'm going to be trying to add, do people like music on these type of streams? We're looking into more streams. I couldn't get it to really work with Twitch. So, I don't know. There's like a third-party software, and I'm kind of uneasy using it, that allows you to stream to them, and then they stream it to your YouTube account and your Twitch account. And it's just making me extremely uneasy to use it. So this is a good hand. We have Tithe. Are we on the play or the draw? We're on the draw, so Tithe gets a lot better. Tithe helps against the mulligans, or against the play draw, and we're playing against a Rune. I've actually already played against this guy. I beat him last round. I did lock him out pretty well with like Wastelands and things like that, kept him off colors he needed. So we'll just go ahead and lead with the Scrubland. I think that's the right play. And then we'll Tithe when he plays another land. And then, so this deck is going to run like Birthing Pod and Wood Elves and a lot of like Prophet. He's going to try to tutor up Prophet as soon as possible. So we do need to kill the Prophet. And our opponent is going to allow us to grab some planes. And we don't have a turn 2, so I'll probably end up just putting the Shambling Vent into play tapped. Ancient Tomb does allow us for a turn 2, so that was a good draw, actually. So we'll go ahead and just sort of Feast and Famine. And then the following turn we'll Sin Collector, but Sin Collector might not hit anything at this point. This is a Rune ramp deck, so yeah, it's going to copy my Ancient. Does this copy? That sucks. My Ancient Tomb is actually going to be copied. Ooh, he just copies a Plains. Surprised he didn't. Is it on his side? Any land on the battlefield. So this is Sylvan Caryatid. We'll probably just end up Chain or Edict Knit. I don't know if I want to go Sin Collector. Well, we're getting flooded. Terribly bad. So it's still going to be... I don't know if the right play is just so... Let's see, we have 4 mana available, so we can't do both. The Shambling Vent would allow us... I want to get this equipped as soon as possible. This does allow for Rune. So I'm thinking it is just going to be Swamp. And we're going to go Sin Collector. Ancient Tomb needs to be banned in this format too, by the way. It's too busted. Your life total is so high in this that... Well, that's a good one. We have Eerie Interlude. Mirari's Wake's can be tough. I don't have a way to deal with it. We flooded out terribly bad with this particular draw. I mean, these are all draws, right? Oh, no, I found these with Tithe. So we'll get rid of the Eerie Interlude. And we can't equip this turn. But next turn we can equip and hopefully do something. We need to draw into something. Because he's going to go ahead and put out Rune of the Hidden Realm, I'm sure. So... Mirari's Wake. Yeah, I have no way to deal with that. He's going to have to discard a card, so that does help. And Enlightened Tutor. That puts it on top, so it's not going to help out too much. We want to just get this equipped. And then just go ahead and put out a command tower, because I think that... No, we can put out a tap land now. No, I do want to Enlightened Tutor. So we'll probably use Chainer Edict, because even though he's got a creature, might as well use it. So, and then we get an untap though, but I don't get to draw anything. Teysa after that. So I guess Shambling Vent's actually the right play, since we're going to be untapping. And might as well have it, because this is a Birthing Pod target later on. Go ahead and attack in. But, I mean, with Mirari's Wake, I'm really at the mercy of my... And there's got to be something better. Do we know what was in the hand? I can't remember what it was. When we looked, it was... Island, Mirari's Wake, and Restoration Angel. So it's one unknown. So we're going to go ahead and cast the Teysa, as well as the Enlightened Tutor. And we need to use the Ancient Tomb again, unfortunately. And this allows us to go get... I don't know what I get here. We could go get the Relic. I know his deck does use graveyards, so like Sun Titans and stuff. I think the right play... I would definitely go get Crucible if I had a Wasteland in hand. You know, Seal of Cleansing is something I can get rid of the Mirari's Wake. That might be the best play. The thing is, it sets me back pretty far behind later on. I could get something like Sword of Fire and Ice here and probably do, or even Recurring Nightmare. Recurring Nightmare sucks right now, never mind. I just don't have a target for it. So I think we'll just go get the Seal of Cleansing. Keep him off that mana. And unfortunately we have to draw that too though. But this should stop him from any shenanigans unless he's got something just incredibly busted. I could have Enlightened Tutor. You're correct. I always forget that's the one that's the instant speed. What's the one that's not? The Idyllic Tutor. Do I worship Keck? In Keck we trust? I don't know. I got into the little 4chan culture there for a bit. Thought it was funny. But it makes a pretty funny map. I can't stand Outrage. So I think we're probably better off just using the Seal of Cleansing right now. Huh. I think we actually just want to go Shambling Vent. Attack in. He could flash something in. What in the world could be in my opponent's hand? I feel like we're going to get blown out here, but... It's a pretty solid attack here, though. Just a Venser. All right, that makes that's a lot easier. So he can bounce the Sword of Feast and Famine, and then kill a Sin Collector. Or kill the Shambling Vent. That's correct. Yeah, can go after the Shambling Vent because it is a 3/3. So I guess using the Seal of Cleansing first was correct. I can exile Venser at the cost of my Teysa. And now I can't actually cast anything here. So that was a really good play from my opponent. I'm not sure if it, at the cost of my Teysa, is correct. This is something that Rune can just exploit over and over, so I think I have to do it, unfortunately. And I still have a target next turn for the Sword of Feast and Famine. Yeah, well, that was just rough. The last two cards in hand being both instant speed things that I don't see a better play out of that. Maybe just the Seal of Cleansing. Venser would have bounced it back, most likely. Can bounce a spell too, huh? Gee, or a land. It's pretty busted. Because I think I'm what? I'm pretty much okay. You can't use it this turn though. So I could have waited for Rune. But those are some pretty solid top decks. Like, I knew that after Restoration Angel, we saw everything up to this point. I hope he attacks him with, oh, thank you. Why did he attack him with Venser here? Unless there's, because I can cast the Sword of Feast and Famine and equip. So maybe my opponent's punting as bad as I just punted. And that looks like he's F6 because green and black. Thank you, sir, if you did punt. But next turn Venser is going to start locking. We did get rid of a card and untapped. So we can get rid of the Mirari's Wake, which does help out quite a bit. Or we could recast Teysa, but I think it's just while we have this slot, get rid of this stupid thing. All right, well, Venser is going to be able to get a ton of value. It's going to be one of those days, huh? That's a top deck. I believe I'm locked now with the Venser rune. But again, this is just one turn off from locking him, getting the Teysa down. Just going to bounce it right now. That actually was pretty good. Because this allows for me to actually cast a spell. Or we can get a Marsh Flats. Well, nope. That's going to stop. I think just casting Teysa here seems pretty bad too. I think we're locked. So, pretty ridiculous top decks on our part and pretty ridiculous top decks on our opponent's part. So, yeah, each turn he can just keep bouncing a land. I'll play it out, but I don't think there's any way I can win this. This is ridiculous. All of that. I think all of our besides the Enlightened Tutor tutoring up the Seal of Cleansing, was it all draws were lands? Every one of them? That was a draw, that was a draw, that was a draw, that was a draw. Am I missing a draw here? Because this was in hand, right? Or did we draw into the sword? There is no game 2. It's a 1-off game. That's what I can't stand about this too. I wish there would. That's why they need to. A lot of people are like, well, what about like Vintage and Legacy are high power levels? Modern's high power level. Yeah, but they're more than one game. This is literally one game. So if they have a degenerate combo, you can't side crap in to stop the degenerate combo. So the Phyrexian Metamorph is just gonna copy the Venser. I don't know if Manglehorn actually did anything here. I think that this flickering the Venser was... I mean, that was a pretty sweet top deck, too. I'm done. Okay, we'll go on to the next match. See what we would have drawn into our next land here. Mentor wouldn't have helped. And the Soul wouldn't have helped. Alright, like I said, I beat him last time around. He was the exact same opponent in the last match. So it's a very... that match is probably pretty 50-50 because they're a value-based deck. They're kind of a ramp value. And that's what Teysa does struggle against because we are at the mercy of their top decks after we've like perfect example last game with just a Restoration Angel and 2 lands in hand. Or we did take the other card. No, and this 37 is actually extremely low for 1 versus 1. That's on the low end. You don't want to, because then you get hands like this. And then mulliganing, when you're in a 1-game match, mulliganing is just like horrid. So we'll go Command Tower on top. I do want that 3rd land. So here we'll see if Liliana's any good. And it's Jace. So these blue control decks, I don't really have a good hand for blue control. I guess I should have looked first before I mulligan. And on the play, on the draw, this is extremely hard too because I can't interact with Jace after it already gets value a lot of the time. So yeah, I don't know. The one match is really, really... I understand that these games go pretty long, and that's why they have a shortened clock, but I think like a 10-card sideboard or something would be ideal for this type of deck. And then, so the luck isn't... Or they need to implement what like Travis Wu and a lot of people are saying about if you run the die roll last match, you can't win it again, so you can't have it 2 matches in a row unless both people have, and then it can go to random, because that's... a lot of these decks do, a lot of these 1 versus 1, these Barrel and Jace decks, if they get to go first, they have such a huge advantage because they get their commander out and then start protecting it a turn before a lot of decks can actually adjust. So now it's just going to be counterspell, 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 flip Jace, high tide lose. See if this gets countered. It does. All right. That does allow for our Bitter Blossom to hit, though. Which is actually pretty good. And they still got the Force of Will in hand. No Force of Will. Awesome. So hitting that Bitter Blossom was pretty clutch. Unfortunately, Jace coming out here is going to be very... okay, he's going to Cyclonic Rift it back. Oh, at least that gets rid of the busted card later on. Alright, I think we just roll it out again. The Bitter Blossom. Rather than the Liliana. And we'll tithe when our opponent puts out another land next turn. I probably should just tithe first. So there's Jace. Unfortunately, I don't have a way to deal with Jace at the moment. Because it does survive the Liliana. And we will get... I don't think our live total is a problem, so at least that gives us some pretty good card advantage. But here it comes again with the... Phyrexian Tower is actually pretty good here because we can kill the 1/1 flyers. I'm pretty sure ramping here is probably better. Oh, I can't attack yet. What am I doing? So yeah, I still can't do a mana leak. Eeny meeny. I really feel like this just gets countered. No, okay. And I don't think there's a point to getting Reassembling Skeleton over a 1/1 flyer. So at least Leon is something my opponent does need to deal with. And we got rid of the Cyclonic Rift. The High Tide is still in the deck though, so taking every turns from now till we lose can happen. Yeah, I don't know. You guys are probably getting away with on 1v1 on MTGO. You're gonna want a higher land count because you're gonna lose so many games if you don't have those. I mean, I have 36 in Brea and it feels so low. A lot of people, if you look at their deck list, they have like 38, between 38 and 40, and then things like Get Rock Monster even have a little bit higher. So maybe with cards like Tithe, I can cut it down a little bit, but I'm hesitant to do so because last time I had a very low land count. It was just so many games I lost because of getting stuck on 2 or 3 lands. So here's the flippy of Jace. And this can allow for a Cyclonic Rift back on Liliana if he is really worried about. I'm going to be piece of the puzzle. And some good ones there, so 3 cards for 1. Oh, you can only get 2. Okay, so up to 2. Okay, yep. Gonna protect. So Liliana of the Veil would have been extremely good, but that's a terrible draw with this Liliana out. So I think I'm going to try to put as much pressure on my opponent as I can. And because we have to stop Jace. Jace is going to... Actually, Jace might just win now. The thing about Jace is pretty busted in this deck because there's a lot of 5 mana take extra turns. And it's almost to the point that you can take up Jace, take an extra turn, take up. You get so much value out of the -3 from Jace. So we'll go ahead. I can't even attack him with anything here, so... But next turn we do have 4 power on board to try to attack Jace down. And there's Mystical Tutor, so we just lost. So another card that has to go is Mystical Tutor in this instant speed, go get High Tide is what it's called. Is that what he got? Yep, there's High Tide. So we lost. My opponent's going to cast High Tide and then take every turn. Yeah, this is little Teysa. Little Teysa's really good. I even go back to a few deck types ago, or the intro of this video, and that is where I explain where Teysa shines. Not against decks like this. This is one of the weaknesses of Teysa. I do believe it's over here, especially when my opponent plays a island, because my opponent have access to 12 lands, and then it's just going to be take extra turn, take extra turn, take up, recast to take extra turn from the graveyards, because the old ones don't exile them like all the new ones do, and then take up, take extra turn, take up type thing, and it's then they can cast High Tide again. Yeah, it's pretty degenerate how this deck goes off. Be surprised if my opponent doesn't just run it out. I do have a lot of graveyard hate. It might be time to put, if I see this trend happening, yeah, there's a Temporal Mastery. At least we'll get High Tide out of the way. Or at least one High Tide, so... And my opponent didn't play land either, so that ends up just being a very, very expensive Explore. Not even explore, just a very expensive draw card at the cost of actually using... Yeah! That ended up being very good. There wasn't a land played. We had some Yu-Gi-Oh players in today, but no, Yu-Gi-Oh is not popular. So there's a high tide this time around. So there must be another take extra turn in my opponent's hand. See if like is a Palancrone. And that's infinite mana. Yep, that's in this deck. That's how they win, by the way. Because high tide is an effect that lasts until end of turn. So this is infinite mana. So I don't know if my opponent has the cards in hand though. So you do want to have them play it out. I'm surprised Palancrone has not been banned in multiplayer EDH. It's I bust the card. Similar to this, in Animar it breaks it every time you get it. You end up casting it for 2, untapping all your lands, returning it, casting it for 2. You net up mana every time. Because it's 6 mana to do this activation, and then yep, it is an infinite. So I'm gonna wait and see though if my opponent does have anything in hand. There could be I believe it is Storm how they win. It is the Brain Freeze. Brain Freeze is the card. So we'll see if he has Brain Freeze. But I don't know. I think either High Tide has to go, or all of the tutors to grab High Tide have to go. Or they have to nerf it down even more than just Dig Through Time and Treasure Cruise. Because it is very easy for their deck to find their 1-of High Tide. There's Merchant Scroll can do it, Mystical Tutor can do it. They have a lot of ways to... I believe there's some Transmute. Is there a Transmute card that can do it, I believe, for 1? There is just all of these cards like Piece of the Puzzle, Impulse, Ponder, Preordain, all just cycle through everything to find it, or find one of the tutors that can get it. So I'm assuming my opponent has it if he's going to keep going through the motions, but you never know. High Tide is now gone, too, so... And that actually doesn't win the game. I mean, it puts me way far behind, but it doesn't win, and now the win con is gone. So I don't know if my opponent has another win con. It's just going to try for a Palancrone beatdown, which is pretty viable. But, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a 4 damage each turn. Is there going to be... Jeez. Okay. Why the Temporal Fissure if he's going to keep doing this? Ugh. Yeah, I'm with you, Dimensional Wayfarer. I hate the tutor aspect of it. I play a ton of them in here myself because they're legal, because why not? What I think is the ones that have... very few, like the Mystical Tutor, definitely, it's just an instant or sorcery. That is too broad. And that's usually the type of cards that people want to tutor. Demonic Tutor, Vampiric Tutor, Imperial Seal, those probably all need to go. I would say, if you can make the argument for maybe the white ones, but they can only usually get, one of them gets an enchantment or artifact, the other one only gets an enchantment, and that's a 3-mana spell, so... There are a few of them. You can make the argument for them, but I don't think that they're broken. Worldly Tutor is... it's right there. There's a lot of other ways with green. to tutor up specific cards. But Mystical Tutor, Merchant Scroll, Demonic Tutor, and Vampiric Tutor. The whole reason why I'm targeting blue so much too, a lot of people are like, oh, you just must hate blue. Well, yes. So there is that little bit of but I don't mind it. If blue is balanced, I don't mind playing against control decks. It's not that big of a deal if you can actually play against them. What we saw from the last run of okay, so it is Emrakul that had Emrakul in hand too. Jeez. Had both Temporal Fissure and Emrakul. Alrighty, we'll go on to the next one. But, anywho, what we saw from the last run of the entire, I guess, Season 1 of the Commander League was it was all blue decks. 100% blue decks. A few green decks slipped in there that had green land destruction locks, and they nerfed those. They got rid of the Strip Mine for that. And nerfed Dig Through Time and Treasure Cruise. But it's not nearly enough, I would say, to really... It's going to put a dent in them, but that's it. They need to put it to where it's not you have to run blue to be successful in this format. Otherwise, why play? I mean, that's kind of I would say Legacy doesn't even have that as bad. It got to the point where Miracles got pretty much it was all Miracles that was the go-to strategy in Legacy, but it didn't have nearly as much as the metagame share as Commander 1 versus 1 does, with blue decks that are all doing the same thing. And they really are doing the same thing. They're trying to establish their commander and then control their commander until their commander is ready to win. So Vial Smasher, Tasigur, Barl, and Jace. Jace I would put in one of the tier 1. People just prefer Barl because it has usually a lot of overlap with Jace. They're both high tide, most of them, and they both have the one of Emrakul polymorph. So... what are we up against this time? Surok! This is a ramp deck, so I might not be the best suited for this. I think we will keep this hand. Oh, this hand is actually pretty bad, but I don't like to mulligan 4 landers. So this deck is going to try to ramp. It does have access to blue too, to counterspell things, but it mainly is the lists I've seen with Surok are trying to get like Primeval Titan out. We'll go ahead and just land tax. Land tax is not nearly as good on the play as it is on the draw. But if my opponent ever does get ahead of me, and the way we've been playing, it's not going to happen. So I may have to cut a land afterwards. And I need to shut my damn mouth because there's... So I do believe the graveyard is relevant in this one. They do run cards like Eternal Witness. We can cycle the Spellbomb away. Probably in a turn we'll want to do that anyway. When it rains, it pours, I guess. Jeez. All right, that's a good draw, other than my opponent does have the... mana leak up. So I think that we will just throw out the Zulaport Cutthroat. A card I might actually cut, to be honest. It was good with the Blasting Station combos, okay. Ugh, I didn't want that on top. Oh, we'll shuffle that away. That's actually good. We can shuffle it away. So my opponent looks like they missed a land drop, so this can be good. Alright, I'm done. I quit. I am done today. This is the exact opposite the league I played before this. It was keep 2 landers and never, ever draw another land after that. So, I think Ancient Tomb's here because I can go both Teysa. And I'm going to run out Teysa. I'd rather have Teysa countered. Because at this point, Teysa, I can just cast it over and over. My opponent's smart, they'll leave Teysa alone. Yeah, so now I can go open the armory. And at this point, I think I'm going to just get Sword of Fire and Ice just to draw cards. So, yeah, this is the 3rd game in a row with the land, just land in draws. But it does look like a mana leak or something is going to counter target spell. Okay, well, gets countered. And, of course, land tax when we're land flooded. Sad thing is my opponent probably is outdrawing me. Imperial Seal is nice later on. Let's just go ahead and thin before I Imperial Seal. And this can get any card. I'm not sure. I think something like Liliana would probably be the right play. I don't think I go get Wasteland. Wasteland could to take his other land could be a reasonable card, but my opponent could then just draw out of it at that point. I really think it's like Liliana here. Starting to eat away his hand when my hand is out. The other one would be a sword. Like a sword of fire and ice, just to start drawing cards. Lingering Souls could also be a good one. If I had something to hook up with Lingering Souls is the problem. Yeah, it'd be a Liliana. Phyrexian Arena could be I could make the argument for Phyrexian Arena. But it's... Yeah, I guess Liliana at this point probably doesn't do enough. So I can get Stoneforge Mystic at that point. Stoneforge gives me more. Recruiter gives me probably the most. So Recruiter gets me Stoneforge Mystic, which gets me the... I actually do like that. I think that's probably the right would be to go Recruiter. And that's perfectly fine. I'm actually okay with that because I'm just going to recast it right here. gives me Smaggro 2, gets a card out of the hand. Yeah, Lilian's okay, but then my opponent really could still just draw out of it. I'd rather snowball right now with my opponent behind. Look at that Ancient Tomb doing some work. Already down to 19. Already down to my starting life total, where it should be. There could be a force. Yep, there's a Force of Will. All right, so regardless of what I got, it would have been countered. What was exiled? A Stubborn Denial. Wow, this list is running a lot of counters. So you're probably right. Probably Kiki Jiki. And my opponent's in the opposite of this spectrum as I am. Kept a 2-lander, didn't draw a card. Feel for you, buddy. Been there. Too many games on MTGO are won or lost this way. MTGO is insanely frustrating. Well, was a Tectonic Edge, but still the wrong colors. It's a pretty sweet land, too. When did this land come out? Yavimaya Hollow. Yeah, do you know what? It could become more interesting, but if my opponent does start to get ahead, that's going to be the card advantage that's really going to come into play here. Either sword would be okay to draw into. This is where I'd actually like the other sort of Light and Shadow. That... It's an okay card. We're going to go ahead and attack him for 5, though. This is a fast clock for 5. We do need a sack outlet. That's why the Phyrexian Altar, I had it in here for quite some time because the Phyrexian Altar here would be really, really good. Because we'd be able to flood the board here with spirits. By every 1 mana would end up equaling another spirit in this scenario because it's 2 mana. My opponent is just going to scoop here. I don't think he's actually out of it. He has some time. Especially when we're going to draw land. Cool. Thanks, MT Joe. And I collected Brutality. So my opponent literally had some time to draw out of it, but yuck. All right, we'll play the next one. Sorry, I'm trying to get rid of this image here because I've got the actual screen come over more. So let's see here. That's probably good. There, chat probably looks a little bit better now without that logo in the way. Maybe not. Really wish Recurring Nightmare was legal in 1v1 Commander. It's been banned since I've been playing Commander, so I've never played against it, but it doesn't seem to be the most broken card. There might be some combos I'm not aware of. In this deck, it isn't an infinite, so I'm sure it is with Intruder Alarm or some other degenerate. I think Intruder Alarm should be banned in multiplayer Commander. That card. I've never seen an Intruder Alarm be cast and then the game not end the next turn in Commander. Alrighty, we are going to keep this 4-lander again. This is a little bit better because we do have some control elements. We actually have things to do. And this is Barl. Unfortunately, we are on the draw on this one, and we don't have any. Like, this is another one that's going to be tough to. Barl is going to be out a whole turn before I can Anguish on making it. But the Bog is pretty decent in this one. I might just go first turn Bog, get rid of the Gitaxian Probe. Yeah, that's probably the right play. I don't think that we need to exile anything in the deck. They usually just win with Polymorph. I could go Viscera Seer and just use Bog a little bit later. But I mean, I'm susceptible to a Stifle off the Windburst Height, so I think I'm just gonna Bog. I don't think we need to get out a Seer quite yet. And that was pretty bad of a draw. That is the other sack outlet that I have in this deck to kill off the black creatures, to start creating white creatures with Teysa. And it's also something that can be tutored up with the Recruiter. It was another card that could be tutored up with Ranger. So after this, I might cut down a card, land, and put back in Ranger. Ranger is pretty solid. I was also thinking about, for these particular decks, of putting in like Lost Legacy or Sadistic Sacrament. Because Sadistic Sacrament allows you to get 3 cards out of the deck, exiled for good. If you cast Sadistic Sacrament versus Barl, if you get High Tide, and you get you probably wouldn't have to get High Tide at that point, but if you get the Emrakul and whatever else they're trying to be degenerate with, a lot of times that's just game. Relic-Warder's terrible in this particular matchup. I think the right play is just go Windbrisk and then Mesmeric Fiend. I do like to have Viscera Seer out before Mesmeric Fiend because it just gets rid of their card forever, but I don't know if their deck actually does a lot to deal with the Fiend. So I'd like to take a look at my opponent's hand and just see if there's something we can get out right now. Yeah, but is Nightmare really that much worse than the bazillion things that you can already do in Commander? I have so many locks and combos and things that can be maybe just the pure value of Recurring Nightmare. I don't know. I have no experience playing against it except now playing with it in 1v1. It doesn't seem nearly as degenerate as a bazillion other things that already happen in Commander. So, anyway. We'll go Scrubland here. And we'll Fiend. Yeah, well, I would agree if putting out the Viscera Seer first, but we don't really have a play. This next turn I want a Recruiter. I need to recruiter as quickly as possible to get Stoneforge Mystic. So here I'm going to take the Blue Sun Zenith. I don't care about the Misdirection or... Yeah, both of these are terrible. So Blue Sun Zenith is the right card here. Set my opponent back. I'll know not to cast Anguish Unmaking into my opponent's island. Well, Recurring Nightmare can actually be just destroyed, or you get it out of their hand, or, you know, countered, or I don't know. All right, so we'll go Flagstones. And Shriekmaw actually does work here because Misdirection doesn't have another target. So we can just Shriekmaw. So we know that he's got Disdainful Stroke. Disdainful Stroke can counter Shriekmaw though, correct? Because it is a converted mana cost and this is just... Yeah, so Disdainful Stroke does get around that. So I'm just going to recruit her. And my opponent could have drawn a counterspell. If so, is what it is. We're not having the best of luck today with the top decks of our opponents and the top decks of ourselves, but... Well, there's a number of counterspells my opponent could have drawn into there, but Force Spike is annoying. What's going on, Tasty? You pile of garbage. That's my PG insult. Hope that works. Hopefully I'll be playing Tasty next time in the Commander Community Cup for the next round. We'll have to wait and see, because Tasty won his match. And, oh wow, I can't spoil if I won mine. I'm not supposed to anyway. Whoops. But Tasty, you got to edit your deck now, right? 'Cause 3 of your cards got banned. So here, though, there's 2 draws we don't know about. We do know about a Disdainful Stroke, but that counter to the Recruit of the Guard is pretty much going to be tough. Disdainful Stroke still does counter the Shriekmaw. I believe it does, because the converted mana cost reads off of the top right corner, not what you cast it for. So, yeah, this is ugly. We can Misdirection. My opponent can exile spell in response. So I think what we do here is just Viscera Seer and cast Teysa. Yeah, we'll do that play later on with the Vorel Stronghold once we get the mana for it. I'd rather get some more board state going. I'm thinking Teysa is the right play here. Good news about having resolved Teysa, though, is it takes away my opponent's Emrakul as well. If I can get 3 white creatures out, or just 2 other than Teysa, which I can right now. So, and I've had a lot of Barl opponents forget that. The Emrakul has protection from spells, not from colored spells, not from colored effects. And this is a colored effect, so... You didn't run Treasure Cruise or Dig, Tasty, huh? I thought you did in your deck. Oh well, I didn't run any of them in Brea either. I guess that's the one thing I didn't spike up. But this is getting pretty crazy with the blue deck having this much mana, and that was a pretty terrible draw too. We'll run out the Stronghold, because we do need to get that Recruiter back. So again, I don't think I'm going to be just land go here. And the later this game goes on, though, the worse it is for me. Let me fix this chat. It keeps messing up. There we go. All right, so no land drop, but that does mean there's something in my opponent's hand that... Maybe like a polymorph. Ugh. Do I dare tap out? Well, Misdirection's protecting him anyway with the Anguish I'm making, so I think it doesn't matter. Alrighty, so we will put the Recruiter back on top and attempt it again, because Recruiter is just pure gas. We go get, at this point, we go get the Stoneforge Mystic, I would say, and then with the Stoneforge we get Skull Clamp, and then we can keep up card advantage with our opponent. So we are going to go for that play. Let me tap the other. Yeah, this is a better route of tapping. I think that leaves us. Yep. Open more options. Thanks for joining us, Thunder. I don't have Grand Abolisher in this particular deck. That's a good option, by the way. I accept that. It could be something you could bring in. It's something I could easily tutor up. Isn't there a card that makes it so that people can't play a certain name on a white card as well? No, that's Meddling Mage. That's on a blue-white card. Well, we do have Phyrexian Revoker. Yeah, Abolisher does seem good. Another one that I might go back to is the Knight of the White Orchid. As Knight of the White Orchid, it could, I guess, reduce my land count. It does. It makes it so going on the draw isn't nearly as painful as on the play. I mean, because you can basically get a land into play from the Knight and kind of be up a turn. Monastery Mentor is pretty sweet here too, but we just don't really have a lot to do with it. So I just think that grabbing something like the Stoneforge Mystic is the correct play. I could go get Merciless Executioner or Fleshbag Marauder unless my opponent has a way to deal with it. But at this point, I think my opponent can just go for bar. I could go get Aven Mindcensor too. The whole problem with Aven Mindcensor is I have to reveal it. And Aven Mindcensor would be pretty good against Polymorph. I can also get Sin Collector. But I still think the Stoneforge Mystic is the right call. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I guess I could just rinse and repeat after this with Merciless Executioner. Force my opponent to... Yeah, I'm going to go this route. I'm going to go the Merciless Executioner. Because I want this thing dead. And it does get countered with a Daze. Still can't attack in. But we can put it back on top and just rinse and repeat. Still not a land by my opponent either. Mox Diamond was discarded, which is like a land. Does not have the Leonin Relic-Warder though, so that's smart. And I think I don't know if we just kind of, yeah, I think that we go this back on top of our library. See if it gets countered again. And it does, with a cycling counter. All right. And Emrakul shuffles everything back in. And at this point, I still don't think I attack in with anything. Is there leaks out, Tasty? There really is, and it's a dragon tribal? With what, Sign of the Ur-Dragon reprinted? Yeah, that can't be on the reserved list, it's too old. So, do we do it again? I think I'm gonna just YOLO draw here. Ooh, that's a decent one with Wasteland. See if my opponent wants to counter this Shriekmaw. Let's not use Wasteland, because I'm not sure if it's the right play just to. Because Disdainful Stroke can counter this. But this is a little bit easier, I would say. Yep, alright. So Disdainful Stroke happens. Yeah, Wasteland, I don't think we need to get rid of it. Now my opponent's actually dropping lands. I guess they did play a land last turn. So, at this point, with that misdirection, there's no point of anguish on making until it's out. There is no artifact or enchantment, right? Enters the battlefield, you may. I think we're just going to cast the Leonin Relic-Warder. I might kick myself if I see something like they run like a one of the gain control of a creature, as long as it remains tapped card. The Vidalcan Shackles. Get a counterspell that. So at least we drew a counterspell out. And, you know, that's fine. We still have the Vorath mana to throw the Merciless Executioner back. And discards the misdirection, so that's huge. I wish I would have kept up a white mana there. Because misdirection was... Yeah, because now we have the mana now to put it back on top of our library and cast it next turn. So piece of the puzzle, hopefully this doesn't hit anything good, which is Confound, Counter, and Rewind. What do they take? Confound and Rewind. And then Preordain, so Rewind is still up. And I still think we do want to put the Shriekmaw back up. Yeah, Shriekmaw's fine. It's one less mana. I think that's a better way of killing Barl. So we'll go ahead and Shriekmaw. I still think we do want to Anguish Unmaking here. That should set our opponent back. And at this point, we can attack in with everything. Should have attacked with the Mutavault there too. And gonna recast Barl, which is fine. It's Aven Mindcensor does take care of what our opponent is trying to do. I think we just pass. Maybe I should have cast it right there. And a turn we'll cast it. Because if my opponent does try to polymorph now. One of them, no, that just reveals. It doesn't search. So Aven Mindcensor is actually pretty bad. So We'll go ahead and flash this in. Should probably run Ghost Quarter if I'm running Aven Mindcensor. Sure, we'll just recast it rather than put something on top. Do I want to put something on top? That's fine. I think he's just countering anything just to loot now at this point. So I'm gonna put Recruiter, possibly Recruiter, back on top. Or we'll just go for Shriekmaw again. There we go. It actually hit. And it gives me a spirit, so now we have some pretty good... Whoops. Probably shouldn't have done that. Okay, yeah, this is still fine. This is what I'm gonna do. We're gonna sack the Teysa here. Yeah, I can't lose that Mesmeric Fiend. But then I did lose Teysa there, but I think that's fine. I can just recast Teysa. But this does get a little bit... Borrow's probably going to come out again. No. If my opponent goes Borrow, then we just go the Shriekmaw. So we're actually in very good shape here. If I click on that Tasty, am I going to get banned? I don't even know where that's going to pop it up if it pops it up on screen or not. Alrighty, so let's see. We are going to put Recruiter on top. And at this point, I still think I might actually want Tidehole or Sculler here. I think we want to find some value. So it's going to be something like the... Oh, we could go Confidant here, Dark Confidant. Because Stoneforge Mystic doesn't give us all that. Yes, it does. Stoneforge Mystic is pretty good value here. I don't think there's anything my opponent can flash in. All right, after this game, we'll do it. I have to take a phone call after this game, so I'll just put up the image. But we'll throw it up, and then you can discuss in the comment section. I'll be back right after I take this phone call. It's from my father, and he never calls. So, shivers. All right, let's go ahead and throw down the Swamp. And throw down the Mystic. Is it going to be the Cryptic or the Mystic Confluence? Draw 3. Logic Knot. Sure. We will not pay 9. Little by little, we are... I guess I could have saved Teysa the last time by scrying or by sacrificing the Viscera Seer, but I think I want to keep the Viscera Seer around. Getting me that Blue Sun Zenith was clutch. Still 5 cards in my opponent's hand, though. At this point, is Stoneforge something I want to put back up? I'm going to say yes. My opponent is going to run out of counterspells eventually. Get the clamp. Okay, maybe not. And go ahead and attack in. What can I pull from tomorrow for 5? Oh, man. And a deep anal gets... The good old deep anal goes to the graveyard. We can sacrifice the Stoneforge Mystic. I don't know if I care, though. Gotta play quick, too. I'm down to 4 minutes. Put that on bottom. I don't want a Crucible at this point. There's no, like, nothing to Wasteland lock. And I will sack these. Get rid of the Barrel. And I think we still want... I'm going to put Recruiter back on top. Geez, I need a Cavern in this deck just to name humans. I don't have a lot of humans, but I think it's net. I mean, it's still worthwhile. Hey, look at that! Scooped it up. We beat Barrel. Not so tough without Treasure and Dig. Look at all those lands on top. There's my run of lands. I'm going to take this. We'll load this up here. If I can find... There it is. How did this happen? How did this happen? Got the set symbols and everything, huh? A cat dragon. Really? Really? Oh, Wizard's obsession with stupid cats. Anyway, let's see. Let me hurry and call my dad back, and maybe Zach will be in here to talk to you about the spoiled dragons. There we go. That's a great segue.
No, you were saying something.
I gotta call my dad.
Okay, go for it. Oh my gosh, this chair's warm. That's disgusting. Anyways, what is it? Flying Trample. Whenever this queen deals combat damage to a player, that player sacrifices a creature. If that player can't, you create a 3/3 black, red, and green cat dragon with flying. Okay, so they think we're all a bunch of cat ladies, right, guys? Is the chat not working? Nothing to see. Restore chat. Let's see what's going on. All right, all right. Sorry, guys. I have no idea what's going on here. But anyway, so it looks like we got another Dragon Spirit. That's interesting. 5 color. At least it's a legendary creature. 6/6 for 6. That's not bad. Let's see. Flying Trample. Deals combat damage to a player. If that player attacked you during his or her last turn, exile target non-land permanent that player controls. Really? That is pretty cool. Now, is this the new... This has got to be the new set symbol, right? All right. I cannot... I cannot see on this screen. But anyway, so it looks like this one, if it's in the command zone. Oh, so this is the new commander set. That's why I was looking at it. We're going to have a dragon commander set. That's a pretty good idea. Is the chat delayed? Sorry, guys, if the chat's delayed. We'll have to see if it's working again. All right, so, well, it looks like for leaks, they're going to have dragons. That's pretty nifty. Let's see if I can zoom in on this. Wow. That kind of sucks right there. The Haven and the Spirit Dragon's getting reprinted. That looks like it's a dual land. Or is that the tri-land? Can't quite tell from here. Huh. Well, that's pretty freaking cool. Full leaks for 524. And that's not what we wanted. It's just some ad. Oh, all the dragons are getting reprinted. That's kind of sad. I guess what can we do? But yeah, I guess Wizards wants us to be cat ladies now. So I think Kevin's getting back. Anybody got any questions for me? The dragons are pretty cool. I think so too. It's kind of cool. They're gonna have a commander set for all those dragon players.
Yeah, it's lame.
I know it's way
That's
lame.
the worst. Is Angel's gonna be.
But why does it have to be a freaking cat? That just now you can be a cat lady. Why does it have white in it? Why does that dragon not have white in it if it's a cat? It needs to be get rid of the
cats are evil.
Well, get rid of the black or no, get rid of the red. It should have been black, white, and green. Should have been Jun or no black. Yeah, black, white, and green. Absent. Yeah, I don't know. I don't play Magic.
Gosh, disgusting.
How is that disgusting?
The cherry one.
The token. That is kind of creepy. Somebody fused I don't know about that. It kind of fused a cat and a bat together, and it looks like they're staying with that Egyptian-looking theme. If we zoom in on this, oh, I guess I did something. I don't know what I did.
You ruined it. What in the hell did you do?
I don't know. I tried.
What in the world? Zach broke it.
How do we minimize that? I don't know what I did. Oh, I broke it. Oh, exit full screen. I hit full screen somehow.
There you
go. All right, cool.
You're not gonna chill?
What are we gonna talk about? I'm sorting. Let me talk.
Zach actually does work around here. So anything that was so Kolgan the Storm Fury, which I bought a crap ton of them.
Yeah, I was looking at that too. I'm kind of mad.
Same thing with Silumgar. I expected. That's the other Silumgar.
Yeah, those are.
So it's all the rare ones from Dragons of Trokair.
But why would they not print the full ones? Too.
And Crucible
I know.
Haven.
That made me so mad.
I know. We've been stockpiling those.
Oh.
God damn it. Oh well. Another Broodmate Dragon. That was in Prosh, so it's not worth anything. Steel Hellkite's not worth anything.
Too.
Was Broodmate in?
Yes.
Was Steel Hellkite wasn't it? What's this one here?
Still.
Oh, that's just the Absent Land. Is
yeah,
it
looks like one of the tri-lands.
Yep. I guess we'll see. Maybe if I scroll down even more. So what do these things do?
I kind of read them, but not very well.
Deals combat damage to player. That player sacrifices a creature. If the player can't, you get a 3/3 black. Why not both?
I don't know,
That's kind of bad for. There's a lot of abilities that already do that sort of stuff. I mean, 5 mana. Better. I guess Flying Trample. Kagachi.
Awesome.
Are these? So these are 5. These can be 5-color decks again.
Well, no. Scroll up.
Well, it's going to be a 5-color deck.
Yeah, that one is. Yes.
They're not all dragons. No.
Just one
There's 4. There's 4 commander decks, and I'm assuming this one's going to be.
Dragons.
Dragons.
Oh, I got it. So is there going to be elves and then?
No, if they do elves, I'm quitting Magic.
Why? Elves are amazing.
Oh, they just did elves. They literally just did it 2 sets ago. No goblins, no elves, no zombies. I guess there will be.
This one's cool.
I can see an Animar reprint. They need to. They really need to.
Well, that'll probably be in the Legacy one, right? And at the end of the year.
The Iconic?
Yeah.
Oh, there's gonna be. I don't know.
Wait, how cool that one is, though.
6 mana for a 6/6 flying trample. If they attack you last turn, you get exile permanent. It's alright.
I thought it was cool.
The Dragon. Eminence. As long as the Dragon is in the command zone or on the battlefield, other dragon spells you cast cost only 1 though, huh? Just 1 less. Just 1 less. I guess in the command zone it starts getting those, so that's pretty good. That's pretty good for them. Yeah, I mean, because it starts with that ability. It's like giving your commander deck. So I guess if it's more than 1, it'd be busted.
There you go. Elemental Tribal. I could see that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Animar would be the Elemental Tribal, or they make it a 5-color. They make it another 5-color with elementals, and Animar happens to be in it. That's probably the more likely scenario. I don't know if all of them will be multicolor, and there's only 4 of them. There's not 5 this year. There's 4, so they're probably going to jack up the price on us. So get ready for $45 MSRP.
Yeah, most likely.
Whenever one or more dragons you control attack, draw many cards, then you may put a permanent from your graveyard, a permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield. I guess I better be doing something huge when it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Does it see itself while it's in the? Because it is a dragon spell, so does it see itself? I think at minutes it would see itself. Other, never mind. It says other. That
stops it right
that
there.
stops it, but. And a cat dragon token. Oh god.
It's like a cat with bat wings.
I'm done.
It's uninspired.
I'm done. Going back to Pokemon.
Wait, this is PG rated, huh?
What?
Never mind. A cat with wings of flying.
Well, Commander 2015 they overprinted too, and it's so Commander 2015 they kind of did the bait and switch, and Commander 2016 they apparently they printed the exact same numbers. It just sold out incredibly quick, and then Wizards lied to everyone about saying there'd be another print run. They literally lied to us on the phone with it. So that's what ended up happening with us too. Is we actually had some that people had prepaid for that we had to go back on, just because we couldn't get them again. So
not even from distributors.
Yeah, distributors didn't have them forever either. I think that distributors have them now, but they jacked them up.
They don't even have them now.
Oh.
They haven't had them since, I really want to say March. No.
I could see Slivers. I could see Slivers, except they've done like a premium product for Slivers. I guess they did a premium product for. Have they done one for Dragons?
Yeah. No.
I don't think it's Angel. Well, Angels could be it too, and they put Kalia. Just throw Kalia in there, but Kalia's already getting a reprint. I don't know.
Well,
I could see all these being 5-color shenanigans, because there is, Elementals seems. That's crazy. How do they only have 1 of them? And whose head's gonna roll for this? Because these shouldn't be spoiled for a long time. We're talking like November.
Yeah.
Or October.
No, yeah, or at least September when they do announcements.
All right, I'm bored. Okay, so let's play our last match. We need to win this one to break even and go 3-2 again. But beat Baral again, and that hand was pretty decent. I guess that happens when you take care of it and it just starts dirtling. And that happens when you run, 40 counter spells, but nothing to do with your counter spells. But anyway. Also, I'm always looking for suggestions. If you ever want to email me or in the comment section of how I can make streams more interesting. I've been watching some people's streams. I know there is some little programs you can have going while streaming that makes it more interesting. I'm looking into that, but your suggestions are definitely welcome. It's something I want to do more of now that we have this editing computer here or just a good setup here at the shop. But allies could happen. I guess that could be the more white themed. I mean, dragons be the red one. Well, I guess it doesn't matter. Not doing 5, so you don't need to stick in a color pie. Allies, elemental slivers. All 5-color. The Nephilims were just Nephilims. They weren't elementals, so they wouldn't. Hey, there you go, Nephilim tribal. Yeah, shout out to Greg for the stream. I need to fix this again. I need to fix this. Jeez. There we go. Yeah, the whole thing is that I need to figure out something for the chat, how we have it. The chat wasn't working forever, so I just put like a little image that I had, literally this image. Oh, that is the image, yeah, that I was going to have in between breaks and just dragged it over. But I'll work on a better. I know that you can't really see, but if I take away the image, then it'll show the underneath the... Maybe I just put a white screen there. I'm too lazy. I'll figure it out. Yeah, I'm looking at background music. I just don't want to get my channel in trouble with copyrighted music. So I'm looking for some... I wonder if you put the source on it, if you get like a something from YouTube itself, if they cry about it. As soon as I use the music from Speedy Gonzalez video, that was tagged and claimed immediately within seconds. There's some sort of software that I'm sure does it. Manticore Tribal. We haven't... Do you know what I would like to see? I would like to see Berserker Tribal. Because there's literally zero things to do with the tribal, like, Berserkers. None. Zip. But there is a ton of subtypes of Berserker. And it just seems to me to be a shame that there is a whole creature type. Why didn't they make it soldier or rogue at that point? Speaking of which, of course, I would love to see rogue as a tribal. It's one of my favorite tribals to actually play. I wish they would have made more things to go with it. Alrighty. We would like to play first. We want a die roll. And what are we going against? We are going against Vile Smasher. This is a tough matchup for me unless I can get going. The Spell Bomb's fine. The Crucible World's okay. I think we keep this. The Collective Brutality is really, really good. Seal Cleansing can be good. Depends on what my opponent plays. So let's lead off with a Spell Bomb. And then hopefully my opponent goes Chrome Mox. I will... Oh, no Chrome Mox. I know Vile Smashers usually do run Mox Diamond and Chrome Mox in them. Alright. So that was a very, very good draw. We'll get the Scrubby land. We'll get a Tasty Snackies land. Scrub land. Scrub land. Is that where you're from, right? Right? Okay. The puns are over. Coward Tribal. They kind of did that with the Warriors turning things into, or the Giants turning things into Coward. There's a few others I was scouring, some of the tribes that had 0. Kapow! Hymn to Torak. Maybe this is early for Hymn to Torak. Maybe Collective Brutality is better here. We got a Treachery. And we got to Terminate. Both of those are pretty bad against our hand right now. Clerics was a archetype they did a long time ago, but they kind of moved away from those. I haven't seen a lot of Clerics being printed recently. Same thing like Druids. We printed a lot of Druids lately. Shamans, Druids. I like more of the class themes rather than the race themes. So I've done a lot with Warriors. Warriors was one that was ignored for quite a while. I mean, they had it in Lorwyn and then they ignored it, and then they really hit Warriors in the cons block. But I think Kaladesh would have been a perfect time to hit the Rogue Tribal or Artificer Tribal. I need to revisit the Artificial Tribal in Modern. I think it might actually be viable. Anyway. Love to hit a Wasteland off the top. That'd be great to get rid of the Temple. But we'll end up Collective Brutality and most likely just exiling the graveyard. I don't think that using this with 2 modes is probably... I mean, gaining life would be okay versus a deck like Vial Smasher. Vial Smasher just inevitably wins because they control and then dish off some damage. It's almost like Keranos works. So it's the inevitability of damage being there. They don't need to kill you quickly. Ninjas. Didn't they do a ninja tribal at one point? I thought we were going to go back to a Japanese-based set. I heard down the rumor mill that they were thinking about not necessarily going back to Kamigawa, but something of that. Like Eastern Asian. Suture Priest was in this build at one point. If we go back to creature-based decks, I might put Suture Priest back in. I also had the Core Firewalker and what is the Idyllic Champion in this build, in this Teysa build, when I was looking through the online, like the Leviathan and the French commander, and where Zergo Bellstriker was the #1 commander, at least for the aggro strategies, then I thought about putting the Champion and Core Firewalker. It's very good versus Vial Smasher decks. If you actually look at some of the Vial Smasher decks online, they have a lot more heavy red spells than blue, but it's like, again, we're going back to this circle of how I feel that blue is just too broken when you bring in vintage cards. The whole thing that with blue is there's been so many of redundant cards printed. I would say that cards that do similar things to Mana Leak and cards that do similar things to Ponder are a lot more common than cards that do similar things to Terminate, for example, or at least on the same power level, or on Lightning Bolt, for example. Yeah, there's a bazillion spells that do 3 damage, but there's a huge gap between Lightning Bolt and the next best. Whereas there's Miscalculation, Mana Leak, like Force Spike, all these things that do very similar things. Now we have Censor that they just printed. And it's made it for very redundant blue decks where they can just throw in, even though it's a singleton format, I mean, cards are still occupying the same space. My opponent is being very slow. Maybe Legends tribal, maybe Captain Sisse will be the other tribal. It'll be Legends. So, yep, it's going to be Collective Brutality. I don't need to go Crucible here. It's the best thing to get countered to, and then we can utilize the... See what you got. We already got the Terminate. And I love it when these type of cards are countered, because that's usually what I grab anyway. But it does stop me from seeing my opponent's game plan. Lightning Bolt, Condescend, Vampiric Tutor. I'm not worried about the... I mean, Condescend's okay. Is there anything that I care about being... The Tutor's probably the best thing. Because this allows... Like, Bolt... Do I worry about Bolt at all? At this point? It's definitely the Tutor. You could make the argument for the Condescend, but the Tutor is going to get whatever my opponent needs. And we're going to wait till my opponent cracks the Bloodstained Mire and then sacrifice the Nile Spellbomb. I don't think... Maybe we do wait one more turn at the end of his turn. Hakori. Is that the spirit that soul shifts? Demon Tribal, huh? I've actually... Yeah, Demon would be pretty cool. Demon Tribal. Be tough. I guess there could be some white demons. That's a stretch. That's a stretch. Again, we don't even know if they're going to be 5-color stuff. If it's all going to be 5-color. I just can't wait till someone's head rolls for the spoiler. See if they go after the judges again or something. The translators. Yeah, because this is just way too early for those to be spoiled. We don't even have, like, all the cards that we have to... We had to purchase a set already that's coming out. The new Archenemy, right? That hasn't been spoiled? Maybe I'm not recalling it. Zach. The archenemy hasn't been spoiled, has it?
No, it has not.
It's all reprints, though, right?
Yes, it is all 100% reprint. Supposedly, there's one Planeswalker in each deck. So for $10 for a Planeswalker, it's not... Well, I guess they're like $60 MSRP, so...
There's 4 decks, huh?
Yeah, 4 decks. There's 20 new unique schemes.
Cool.
For Archenemy.
So let's see if Vial Smasher's coming down here. I actually don't have anything to deal with Vial Smasher, which is pretty bad, other than I can draw out of it here. Can't draw out of it with that. So we are running into too many lands. I can get the Crucible out. The Crucible is nice because it's card advantage per turn. Oh, there we go. That's perfect card versus Vial Smasher. Yeah, we'll go ahead and Chainer's Edict. Vial Smasher bites the dust. Condescend is still in the hand. We don't know what the other card is. And then we can get out a Seal of Cleansing. Just in case there is an artifact that comes down. Alrighty. Now, see you, Tasty. I guess we're scrub free now. Can't play our scrub land without a Tasty Snackies on the stream. So that does set my opponent back. The Condescend is quite awkward for me to play around. Gives a Scry too, and now we're getting this nonsense again. I'm okay with this getting countered if my opponent wants to Condescend Crucible of Worlds. It'll be good if I can find... I had an Expedition map in this deck list at 1.2, but I just found it was kind of meh. Yeah, and we thought that this was going to happen. Might as well let it happen. I have to avoid the nonsense of drawing every land in my deck again, and this is a recurring theme for this stream. You guys are just bad luck. I guess maybe you're good luck. Maybe you're actually drawing me all the lands I didn't draw in my first league. Getting stuck on the 2s and the 3s. Puts a card on top and bottom. We'll go ahead and put out the Concealed Courtyard. This is another land that I don't know if I even like in this. Just because it does come into play tapped a lot of times when those pivotal turns where you need it to come into play untapped. So we can now cast Teysa. I'm out of cards. Unfortunately, we are getting up to the point where I can recast the Chainer's Edict. My opponent also only has 3 cards in hand. Is behind on lands. His deck also is, or it could be. Yeah, it usually is pretty mana hungry. There are some higher converted mana cost cards. Priest of Gix is terrible too. But it's something. Priest of Gix is in here for combos. There are a lot of combos like Recurring Nightmare that it's really good with. The Vial Smasher is going to come out next turn again. We just ended up having, like, this was a mulligan hand with Seal of Cleansing not doing anything. It might be time to get rid of Seal of Cleansing. It was a Crucible of Worlds killer when the combo was huge with the Crucible of Worlds Life of the Loam Strip Mine combo. But Gideon Jura, huh? Nissa Worldbreaker, Nicol Bolas, Planeswalker, all with new art. So Gideon Jura does get that reprint. I'm glad I didn't invest in those after they went crazy in Modern. Chandra, why is Chandra Pyromaster? That got outclassed by the new Chandra. Whoop, should have kept the Voral Stronghold and let Teysa go to the graveyard. Nah, probably not at this point. My opponent does have to be careful. Yeah, he's just going to bolt the Teysa. Gets it out of the way. I'm perfectly okay with that. We have plenty of mana to run out Teysa. And so, basically, Teysa just killed a card. My opponent didn't put another one on top, so that doesn't work. So there is one unknown card. We've seen the Condescend and Lightning Bolt that was in the hand. I mean, Chandra Pyromaster is super good. Gonna go Crom here or Vile Smasher? Yep, Vile Smasher again. Okay, now it's down to top decks. I loved it. Well, I can't hit anything bad here. Because the land, yeah, this land actually works. So black, black, one, black. And now Vile Smasher is pretty much out of reach. But the Crom is still a problem. I do not like partners in this environment. I think they just get too much value. To deal with a 4/4 haster now. If I happen to cast 2 spells per turn, my opponent gets to draw a card. Ugh. Okay. Not a land now. Oh, Jesus. Okay, do I rather put out a 1/1 Cleric or Teysa? I think I'd rather have Teysa. But good night, the Land Flood. Again, that was a pretty solid hand that we started with. I was happy for that last land. I mean, Westvale Abbey at least gives me something to do. Eventually, if I get enough clerics out, clerics do synergize very good with Teysa. I can take care of the Crom and the Vile Smasher. Unfortunately, with blue though, my opponent has way more top decks than I do to get out of this predicament. I need a sacrifice outlet. Is pretty the sacrifice outlet. A Skull Clamp off the top, of course, would be the best thing because then we can kill the Priest of Gix, get a 1/1, and then every Westvale Abbey, since these are black-white tokens, they replace themselves with Teysa. And I play 37, which is below average, actually. Below average for these decks. So, I know people say, oh, I only play this in Commander. Me too. I only play low land counts in Commander as well, because the way we play Commander in our play group is we do a full Paris. So you can Paris away any cards that aren't lands, just because it's the worst feeling in multiplayer if you get stuck and everyone else plays and you don't. And so that allows you to play a very, very low land count and then have the lands you need to play a good game of Magic. However, in 1v1 Commander, I highly suggest you run at least 37, 38 lands, because the majority of your games, if you don't, you're going to have a lot of games where you just flat out lose because you get mulliganing or getting stuck. So there are a lot of cards I can do to draw out of this, though. And Westvale Abbey will be good, but oh my hell. Yeah. But I mean, this has literally been almost every game this has happened. I mean, you can see right there, there's not a lot of targets left with lands. My opponent could be land flooded as well. We're at 20 all. And this is going to be... Oh, my opponent had so much Exiles Commandeer. What does Commandeer do? That takes control of something? Exiles Colgan Command, Exiles Arid Mesa, Sunken Ruins, and keeps Mana Confluence, which Mana Confluence has 3 modes of drawing cards, countering spells. My opponent has the mana up to do so. Ay, ay, ay. I'm going to go with Vile Smasher. This does give me an opening. This gives me a pretty good opening. Well, Vile Smasher's dead again if I want it to. because I can create another one. So this is a really, really important draw. Okay. Just not in the stars today. I really felt very far ahead in this game. Insanely far ahead after that Hymn to Torak. But I don't think, because the Vile Smasher is going to do too much damage. I think I have to eat Teysa here. We'll give my opponent the option to block the Priest of Gix. I give up, though. Well, let me see how many lands we have left in this deck. I guess we have a ton of swamps, and I mean a Phyrexian Tower, another Verdant Catacombs. Yeah, there's still quite a few, but yeah, I'm just sick of the flood. I guarantee you though, if I go down to 36 or 35, I will not see a land for the rest of my life. I'll get 2 landers and then keep them, and then never see lands. That's what happens. It's magic though. Ah, the tilt. So swamp is fine here. I don't want to take damage. Don't want to attack with a human cleric. It does replace itself, but I want that. Now, no, I don't want Teysa to go to the graveyard either. Because I don't think I can build up to the Westvale Abbey. I think I just die next turn. To the Mystic Confluence. Plus, doesn't Mystic Confluence, it bounces as well, I believe. Don't know if that's the right play. Yeah, we can recast Teysa again, and we've taken care of Vile Smasher every turn. The problem is now the Mystic Confluence is just so much card advantage. Another card I can't. I just think that was a mistake of a card to print. If you look at the other confluences that were printed, of course the blue one just stands out. The modes on it is just above and beyond the rest of them. Again, right? Is it return a creature, draw a card, and counter a spell at the 3 modes? So it was like Cryptic Command on crack. I guess we can see it, right? No, it doesn't show it. It just had it revealed. Fair enough. Must have another counter magic in hand. Just going to try to go with the beatdown of the... I will laugh if I get a Jit off the top or something that gains life. I don't have a lot of ways to gain life, though, is the problem. Teysa is up to 7 mana. The Vile Smasher should be taken care of. It's really out of my opponent's range to cast. And I can't even do Westvale here either, so still think it's worthwhile rather than getting a target out. But insane. That's 3 games. That's 3 losses. All that did this, where we literally drew nothing but lands. Brainstorm. Yeah. Pretty much salty here. And we only actually have 1 turn with Teysa. I'm not even sure if I can... I have to draw something this next turn to stick. Because we have to take care of... We'll be down to 5. Plus, this Crom has haste. So, at this point, my opponent can recast it for 7. 1, 2, 3, 4... Yeah, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Cast it twice. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. And we're at 20 commander damage here. I'm gonna recast Vile Smasher for the 15th time, huh? No, Temporal Trespass, and that just wins the game, cause I can't deal with it. So that was a good drop. Unfortunately, we went 2 and 3 in this one, so 3-2, 3-2, 2-3. All 3 of those losses were pretty much unplayable, though. I would say on the stream, there's way too many lands. How many of those were where we drew like 5 lands in a row? And that's just pure insanity. I don't know. This happens all too often on MTGO. I wish that... I mean, it is pure random. So, but I swear runs happen, and you hear this so many times, but it's completely anecdotal. And of course, you're going to remember the times when this happens more than it does not. But it is so frustrating to just the runs of lands over and over, where it feels like the entire league. That's what it was. I mean, one of those matchups though was a free win because our opponent got stuck on 2. But those other 3 were incredibly frustrating. Anywho, I think I'm going to call it for the night. It's late, and got to go check on some things, but we'll try to do some 1v1 commander. If you guys have any suggestions for a commander you want to see in 1v1, we'll go back to more of the brewing feel of the streams rather than just me playing decks. So be thinking of cards you want to see played with, and it can be a little bit challenging for me to throw together a deck too. That's perfectly acceptable. If you are interested in like the Commander Spotlight videos, we are having a pull up on Patreon. So if you are a patron at any level, even the lowest level, you are allowed to vote on the next high production Commander video that I do. I hope you enjoy those, by the way. Go check out the King Makar, very, very fun Commander. Played with it today with the new updates, and it's pretty broken if you give King Makar time. Paradox Engine is probably the next card in multiplayer Commander that's going to get the axe. I'm calling it right now, as it is just really, really degenerate with what it can do. But any horror, I think that I'm going to call it. Thanks everyone for joining. If there's any last minute questions, I'll stick around for a second, and if not, we will see you next time. Let's throw up the deck real quick. Alrighty, thanks everyone.